Severance is one of the most visually striking and emotionally gripping series in recent years, with its unique aesthetic and layered storytelling, and we've all been waiting eagerly for season 2. But season 1 ended in 2002, so what took so long?
Nearly 3 years ago, we were introduced to the world of Severance, and life was never the same. First of all, for fans like myself, why did it take so long? We're talking nearly 3 years for season 2.
It's Adam's hair.
Yeah. Takes a while.
Yeah.
Production faced setbacks from the very start. Filming began in October 2022 and had a set ending date for May 12th, 2023. On May 8th, production stopped due to the writer's strike.
Hollywood is holding its breath as signs of a writer's strike are written across Tinseltown. In a standoff with the Alliance representing the studios they write for, nearly 98% of Writers Guild of America members support a strike, saying the vote represents collective solidarity and demand for meaningful change.
It briefly started up again on May 13th, only to shut down again once the actors joined the strike. After months of delays, filming finally resumed in January 2024 and wrapped up in April of the same year. Jessica Lee Gagne returned as the lead cinematographer for season 2, but she even took it a step further, making her directorial debut in episode 7.
You know when you fear something so much you block it out and you don't even consider it. Like, to me, it was never really an option. I did go to film school wanting to be a director, but then steered into cinematography because it came to me really fast and it was comforting. And I feel like I was good at it. People wanted me to work with them. Soon I started to forget about my dream. And I think now I was ready for it in my life. So it kind of snuck its way back in. And I don't know, I kind of went with it.
Now, directing wasn't part of Jessica's original plan, and actually Ben Stiller approached her about directing in season 1, but she dismissed the idea, wanting to stick just to the cinematography of the series. Something obviously changed in season 2 when she read the script for Shakai Bardo.
It's a tricky episode because it talks about 5 years of these characters' lives that we don't really get to see, and how do you tell that in 15 to 20 minutes, which is what we have on screen, to tell their whole entire story. But I think there's just enough for people to understand and feel what they need to feel there.
And before we dive deeper into the production of season 2, I want to sit with episode 7 just a bit longer. It ended up being one of the highest rated episodes of the entire series, and for good reason. Jessica didn't just prove that she could craft beautiful images, she showed us that she could guide a story with clarity and emotional weight.
Who's putting it together, Mr. Handyman? You?
I happen to be quite handy.
No, you're not.
What? How dare you?
Handsy.
Handsy? Oh, all right. Maybe I'm kind of handsy.
Episode 7 dives into Mark and Gemma's story, one of the most emotional arcs of the season. Jessica shot most of the episode herself, except for the flashback scenes, which were done by DP Max Goldman using 35mm film. And that wasn't just for style. Jessica chose that format to make the past look soft and textured, kind of like you were stepping into an old photo album. To guide the tone, she drew inspiration from films like Close, Jane Campion's Bright Star, and the photography of Rinko Kawachi, all known for their gentle palettes and intimacy.
It's Casey.
I'm here to observe Heliar.
There's this really cool shot that takes us from the Lumen offices all the way down to the basement, and surprisingly, there's no CGI. The team built a custom rig with cables and pulleys to pull it off in one continuous move. At one point, the camera even travels through a desk. Jessica called it one of the most laborious things she's done as a DP. Now, one of the things that stands out in season 2 is how much more the camera moves compared to the still and controlled shots of season 1. And honestly, both styles fit perfectly with how the story evolves. Season 2 opens with a long take of Mark running through Lumen's endless halls. It kicks off with a classic dolly zoom. From there, the camera moves into rapid robotic swings, and then they do a handheld chase shot. final sprint, they switched to a lightweight Sony FX3 on a pogo rig so the operator could run alongside of Adam. According to Ben Stiller, a Steadicam would have been too bulky, so they improvised and it looks like they made it work. Colors play a big role in Severance and especially in season 2. While season 1 used a lot of cool clinical lighting to emphasize Lumen's artificial world, this season leans in even harder. Most of the interior scenes are lit with overhead fluorescent or built-in practicals. That cold corporate vibe is still there, but I feel like they use the color in this season a bit more deliberately. In the final episode, there's a scene where IndyMark and AudiMark communicate through recorded clips. That shift in color from cool blues to deep red becomes a visual cue for how each version of Mark feels. And it's not that subtle, but it is powerful. And honestly, I didn't know whose side I was on during that scene.
You know what I think? I think the second you get your wife back, you forget I ever existed.
Those reds and blues become more than just palette choices. They represent emotional tension, identity, conflict, especially with the decision Mark has to make at the end. Again, we see red and blue, two sides of the same person caught in a quiet war.
Chikai Bardo. I don't know, it looks like two guys fighting.
No, it's the same guy fighting himself, defeating his own psyche. Ego death.
Alright, let's talk about the production design, again spearheaded by Jeremy Hindle. While season 1 stayed mostly on Lumen's severed floor, season 2 introduces us into some new environments. The Goat Room stands out as one of the most elaborate and bizarre set pieces in season 2. Production designer Jeremy Hindle wanted the environment to feel real, even down to the grass. He was set on having actual fields of grass for the actors and goats to walk through, but building a full stage for it wasn't in the budget. According to Ben Stiller, it would have been way too expensive. So Jeremy Hindle had to get creative, and what did he do? He found a section of a golf course with the perfect hills that he wanted and the grass texture he wanted, and they just built the set there. They enclosed it with 15-foot high walls and covered everything with a massive tent to control lighting and protect against the weather. In post-production, they removed the tent and using CGI, they extended the walls to create a seamless look. From what I read, it took months to get it right, but it looks great. And then came the goats, about 50 of them roaming as they pleased. The crew had to make their schedules around the goats. Ben Stiller told Vulture that the goats would just roam wherever they wanted and sometimes would bite at Britt Lower and Adam Scott in the middle of the scene, causing some shots to have to be scrapped. At other times, it seems like the chaos actually worked. Ben Stiller said there were moments where a goat would wander perfectly into frame, ruining the shot 1 minute but making it better in the next. Season 2 continued to draw heavily from mid-20th century architecture. Every inch of Lumen's interior was actually designed by Jeremy Hindle. From the furniture to the light fixture to the old school computer terminals, all created from scratch to give the space that timeless feel. That familiar maze of windowless hallways returns, built once again as modular set pieces. These sections could be arranged between scenes, allowing the crew to form endless new configurations. Visually, it keeps the world of Lumen feeling disorienting and vast, but it also serves the story, symbolizing how the severed employees are trapped and directionless. Adam Scott even mentioned in an interview with People.com that he sometimes got literally lost on set and had to call out for someone to come and find them. For Hindle, it was important to stick to the design philosophy of season 1. He described Lumen's interiors as a mix of power, control, and commerce, all rolled into one. That foundation stayed in place even though the world around it got stranger and more expansive. Season 2 of Severance didn't just continue the story, it leveled up the production in every way. Bigger sets, bolder camera work, and deeper emotional threads. Despite the delays and the challenges, the end result feels just as deliberate as season 1, and honestly, it's even more ambitious. If you haven't seen my breakdown of how they crafted the look and feel of season 1, I definitely recommend checking that out. It gives a full picture of how this world was built from the ground up and shows just how much thought went into the foundation before season 2 even got rolling. Now, if we are lucky enough to see a season 3, then you already know. A video about the behind the scenes and its production will be available upon request. Thank you for watching.